on my vision, every desire. Keep for your glory, my soul inspired. And with your perfection and your holy love, flooding my pathway with light from above. And fill all my vision, Savior divine, till with your glory my spirit shall shine. And fill all my vision, that all may see your holy image reflected in me, reflected in me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jason Goodson.
And I'm Johnny Taylor.
And we're back with Coffee and Conversations. It's been a while, JT, since we sat down to do the podcast, but it's good to be back, and we're back in style.
We're in new digs here.
We have, it's his digs. It's the new upper room. That's officially what I'm calling it from now on.
Yeah, if you checked out Facebook, you will see a picture of it. It's not decorated yet, but it's getting closer.
Yeah, it's real nice. You know, there's a picture on our Facebook page, and I'm going to take a quick second just to remind you listeners out there, just to say thank you for your patience, and thank you for listening, and thank you for all the encouragement to get back behind the mic again. Several of you have made comments, and we're on Twitter and on Facebook at our Twitter accounts at Taleo Ridge, TELEORIDGE, at Taleo Ridge. And then on Facebook, it's real simple. Just type in Coffee and Conversations Podcast, and you should find our page. You'll see an old picture of us in the first upper room.
Yeah.
And there's quite a different setup now. You'll see the new picture down there. And I want to shout out to Ross and Jessica. Thanks for listening. And I know that we've had several other people comment, and Andy in Mississippi has asked several times, and just looking forward to doing this again. So here's my suggestion for you. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and join the conversation with us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is our fourth location.
I
was just thinking about that.
Yeah,
we want to go back and get all the 4 pictures and put them together.
Do we have a picture of the first location?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
It wasn't
in Facebook. I've got it. I think it's on my Facebook, probably. But yeah, and that packed out office of equipment and stuff in it.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy.
Yep.
If you go to that Facebook page, be sure to like it for us. That'd be awesome, because it really spread out to friends, and looking forward to just being a part of your lives once again here. This has been great for us, but I cannot believe if you got a picture of that.
I've got one.
That's pretty cool.
I know exactly. I don't think
that'd be cool to post.
It has
those.
you and our equipment in it. Because
Okay.
I took it
right
from my seat.
From your seat, yeah. I think we had music stands up everywhere. I mean,
in there.
That's pretty cool though. That's been what?
Oh, that's been 6 years ago.
6 years ago. Man.
6 years ago. That's where it started.
My, how time flies. Yeah, that was the building downtown we had.
Yeah.
And that'll stir some memories up in some folks. The painted walls on the inside. That was just a great time of community with those folks, and really love and miss those people quite a bit.
Yeah, they're still, most of them live right around.
And we get to see them every now and then, and not as much as I'd like to.
Not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same, but
quite a few more kids to take.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well,
there was like 3 then. Now there's
like, I'd bet there's close to 20 something.
Probably
25 at least.
5,
24.
10. 12.
Somebody reinforce and get it right, but
Yeah,
I've got 5.
20,
Jessica,
close to 20.
Yeah, there's close to
20.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it's cool though to see these families grow and do that. But JT,
repopulating the world.
yeah, well, repopulating, yeah. Well, I'm not going to go there. I stopped myself. That was a good stop. Thank you. Well, JT, tell the world what's been going on with yourself. How you been doing?
Pretty good.
Things going all right. I mean,
just working hard.
He's working hard. But
I have an office now.
No, it's crazy.
So,
I think it's great.
it's interesting the things God provides and does. And,
Yeah.
Cause it's like I'm sitting in a brand new office in the upstairs of a really nice apartment clubhouse. And all I've got to do is keep up the network in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
So, which is almost, any little computer problems with
Yeah.
software stuff, but that's going to be minor.
You're right. That's stuff that you can do. I mean,
I can go in and use a conference room with a 70-inch TV in it. Just things God does.
It's kind of funny. With myself, the only thing that's really changed in the last year for me, outside of not doing this and getting back to this, is sports life that got really busy. Our football team this year did really well, and got to go all the way to the state football game and lost in the state game, but they were the ride to get there was really cool, and doing all the things we got to do together and travel and
got to take a few pictures out on the field.
Sit on the field, and there's some really cool. I got to do some things I never thought I would get to do. Number one, to PA announce at AT&T Stadium during halftime was man. That was Christmas wrapped up in a box for me. That was that was awesome.
Mark it off the bucket list.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't have ever put that on a bucket list.
I never would have. It crossed my mind. I would love to be, that have the voice heard at, the Ranger Stadium over at Globe Life now. Yeah. But never did I think that I'd walk into AT&T. And you know what that provided? Just being a high school teacher and being involved with kids. Yeah. That's all, what God has given me and gifted me to do here. Yeah. And it's been cool. And that's, so, the sport life has been busy. I've broke through at KMOO, the radio station here locally, and was able to host a Friday night football show after the football games. And that was a lot more than I thought I would ever do. I mean, so I was just pumped to do the podcast with you, JT. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's really, this whole thing has really helped me be confident behind a microphone. Yeah. More than anything. No matter what, it's helped me out quite a bit. So much thanks.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that we do this.
This is really, and I tell kids ask all the time, why are you so comfortable behind the mic? I said, well, I've been behind the mic for 20-something years.
And we've done over 100 podcasts.
Over 100 podcasts, singing, and just traveling, doing the things, the things that we've got, that God's given us to do. And it's just been crazy. I want to tell a quick story, if you don't mind.
Go for it. Let me throw this in.
Okay.
Because Jason won't tell you this, but he got Teacher of the Year at Mineola High School this year. So,
yeah, that was a humbling. I say it's a humbling experience because I don't consider myself the Teacher of the Year, but pretty cool honor, and I was blessed to, get an award for something I love doing. Yeah. So, but thanks. Last night, we're doing a softball game with KMOO, the local radio station here, and I get a text message from my wife. I get a text. No, I literally get a text message from my wife, and it has a voice recording on it. Yeah, I thought, oh no, one of my kids said something funny, and she recorded it and sent it to me. Well, the text was like, I think we have an animal in our chimney. And so
it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing when you have an animal in your chimney.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I didn't know what to think. So she takes her phone and records the scratching on the flute. And you can hear the, on it. And it was this constant motion. So I thought something was digging. Like, my first thought was raccoon, possum. I went for the big dogs, the scary ones. I didn't think about squirrels or birds or anything like that. Well, I'm driving home and I'm thinking, what would the wild man do? What would the wild man do the whole way home? And so what does he usually do? He usually traps them with a sack or something, and rolls them up, and so I'm it's been probably over 20 years since I played football with pads and helmet.
Yeah.
And dude, when I got home, I was ready to suit up and hit something. I was that pumped. I was ready to go to work. Yeah. So I got cleaned out the fireplace, got all the, the leftover, soot from the fire. And I went and dumped it out and made sure it was clean. I went and got that bag and held it up. We held it up. Me and Kathy both held it up. You should have seen this. I should have got one. I should have
had video because I thought about it later and I texted him. Said, "Did you get video of this?"
No, yeah, we didn't do that because all my kids were hiding in a bedroom somewhere.
That's what I figured.
Because they're scared of a fly that's flying across the room. They'll freak out over that. Anyways, we're holding this bag up over this hole, right?
Yeah.
And I have to let go with one hand.
Yeah.
So I'm holding this part, and if the animal's going to fall out of the bag, I want it to fall in the back part of the fireplace. So I remove the hand that's at the back and open up the latch.
Yeah.
Well, there was so much soot
up in the chimney
that when I opened it, a lot of that fell down, and whatever fell with it, we didn't feel. So I looked at her, she looked at me, and she's like, "Did you get it? Did you get it?" And we just started, dust is flying everywhere, and finally I wrapped the bag up, and thought I had it inside the bag, and there was a bird. It was a bird.
Yeah.
It was not a big animal, but it was a bird, and this bird just was sitting in there looking up at me like, "Bro, I ain't got nothing for you." It must have worn itself out.
Probably trying to guess, probably flapping around is what was making all the noise.
Probably so.
Couldn't go anywhere.
And so he's just looking at me like, "Please get me out of this situation. I don't care what you do." And so, I corner him and I reached down and I had the cloth over my hand. I grabbed the bird. I'm feeling pretty proud of myself right now. I'm a man, finally, And so I take the bird outside and that quickly it was over. In my mind, though, it was a possum the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My blood was pumping, man. I'm talking. I was up till like 1 o'clock in the morning thinking about it, still wishing it was a possum or something.
Oh, my.
But
yeah, I would love to have watched if a possum had to come out of that bag.
What would tell you something? I was ready for anything at that point because I thought, well, if we didn't hear any hissing or whatever voice they make.
I should have brought my golf club over. That's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother story. That's right. Gosh. Anyway, so that's kind of one of those nights that we had. I don't know, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Stories. Anyways. I felt like I needed to share that because, me and Kathy shared a moment, but it was like, I was so proud of Kathy because she was all in, man. She had her hands up and ready to go. And, normally I wouldn't call her, I don't know. She's willing to go in. Yep. She's willing to get into the fight with me, you know what I'm saying? And so I thought that was cool. So it was good. We got a pretty cool little relationship there. And so that kind of one of those things, we've been with this podcast, the things that go on with the podcast and the things that, I don't know, over the time, if there's nothing there, usually JT and I are not going to sit there and try to make something up to produce something every week. But
that's why we took a break.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's time for a break again.
And it feels, I think we know when it's time, because, there's always something going on, but, the nights that God, or the things that God has given us, and when He gives us something to do, I mean, here we are, right in the midst of it. So, anyways, we do have a question, and we posted that on Facebook, Coffee and Conversations Facebook page, our whiteboard question of the night. And JT, you may want to explain this, because I think I first heard this from you maybe through a text message or conversation we had on the phone, maybe. Yeah.
And I can't remember what brought this up in my mind. I'm sure it was something that I read from something somebody said online or something. But the question it struck me, what would people answer to this, and why would they answer what they answer?
Right.
And the question is, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you think about your relationship with God? What is the first thing that comes to mind when you think about your relationship with God?
Always think about this too. If you could draw a picture of it, what would it be? That's kind of that's an interesting thought too. Yeah. But go ahead.
I mean, that was a thought, we have thoughts. Of course, if you looked at the whiteboard picture,
right,
you saw some of the ones that we've written down. What would, because I got to think what the typical answer is to that question.
Right.
If I go down and ask a number of people, what would their typical answer be? And sadly, most of the time their answer would have to do with something they do, I think.
Right. Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. I'm not even sure how to say that, because it's like we can't separate. Let's just go to some of the things we thought up as typical response. And this is some things I probably would have responded at one point in my life, I'm sure. First I might say, okay, I read my Bible every day. I go to church every week.
Right.
I go down and volunteer at the local soup kitchen. I help feed the poor.
Right.
I'm kind to people. Nothing wrong with any of those things.
Yeah, right.
Don't ever think we're saying these things are wrong. And the thought I had was, and I was asking Jason, I said, if I ask you, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of yours and Kathy's relationship?
Mm-hmm.
We'd be slightly concerned if he said, well, I provide a home.
Right.
I work hard for her. That would raise a red flag in anybody's mind if he said that.
Right.
But yet, when we ask that very same question about our relationship with God, it doesn't raise any red flags if somebody says, well, I'm doing all these things.
Right. Right. Because those things you're talking about is a response that we usually give when we're selfishly motivated to do something.
Exactly.
So if I'm saying those responses, thinking about Kathy, if I'm thinking, well, I provided home, I do all this stuff for you, and if I had that mindset with her, then how selfishly motivated is that? Well, that's pure, then you should be, there's something needs to happen for me.
Yeah.
All this is happening for you, then why didn't it happen for me, right?
Or you think it's required of you.
It's required of me. I've got to do this, and this.
If I don't do this, then Kathy's not going to love me.
Right. So. And so we project that onto God.
Exactly.
We create that image in that relationship, really, not really an image, I guess, but that relationship with God that way. But we don't bat an eye at it. You're right.
Right. It's not even.
Oh, that's okay. That's normal. That's normal. Yeah. It's far from normal.
It might be normal, but not.
It just seems.
It might be the average. Let me put it, but not normal, but the average. It just
feels like I don't know. It just feels having trudged through all these things, and having dealt with it. It just feels like such a abnormal form, but it really It really seems like the average typical answer, though.
Yeah. Like we said,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And they're all, like you said, they're good moral things. It's not like we're bashing doing those things.
Yeah. And because all those things you do for Kathy are good and what you
Right.
should do, but that's not what the relationship's about.
Right. Yeah. If the relationship was built around those things, it would be awful.
And lots of relationships
It's
are
all-
built around things like that.
Right.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
again. That's why divorce rates so high.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I was just thinking, and when you hear people arguing, married couples argue, it's funny the thing that's usually the thing, well, I do this and this, and you should be appreciative, and that's usually when relationships are in trouble,
Yeah.
when they're at that level.
Right.
So what does that say about us answering that way about our relationship with God?
We got a messed up view of normal. I don't know, man.
Well,
I'm just thinking.
I'm thinking
out loud.
I'm just
there.
thinking
Right.
we're in trouble when we're answering that.
Right. Right.
I
It's
know.
not that it's totally messed
I know
up.
when I would answer, back when I would have answered that way,
Mm-hmm.
I was in trouble.
Right. Wow.
Because there wasn't enough of those things, no matter how many of those things I did.
Right.
That's what my relationship became about that with God. About all those things I did. And the thing about that, none of those things create intimacy.
Right.
They're just things. They're not relationship. They're not bad things, but they're not relationship.
The atypical response, moving from the what we call typical to atypical. I like the how sweet it is. The response, what's the first thing? Sweet, restful, friend or friendship. I think either one of those could be used. Life, I really like that one.
Life is probably,
that's probably that
but
center.
to me, even all of these fall short.
Yeah.
They're words.
Hard words to express. It's our infinite or finite words trying to describe what a
finite relationship is.
Yeah. Because we can think only. It seems like even we fall short of this. It's just falling into that, that finite thinking. When it comes to God, because I typically my words can only describe so much about to the depth of who God is. That would be like impossible, but cool.
Yeah.
And I like, I always think about this definition. Let's go to, I really like the definition that we talk about relationships. What relationships are deep connected relationships are often formed around and formed through the word intimacy. The definition, I guess, just the basic dictionary version of the definition of intimacy.
Yeah.
You have that?
Close familiarity or friendship. Closeness.
That's exactly what
It has to do with being something.
Right.
Relationship, you can be in a relationship by doing things.
Right.
But you can only be in intimacy by being something.
Right.
I can be in a relationship with God that's not necessarily a good relationship.
Right.
Thus, by doing things.
By doing things, right.
But to be in intimacy with God is a whole different matter. It's a close familiarity or friendship, closeness. That's the definition.
Right. That's really good. Think about this, that, you listed all those things.
Yeah.
prayer, work, poor, feeding the poor, reading the Bible, witnessing, whatever, all those, being kind to others, those good moral things, right?
Right.
That we typically think of. If those are the first things that come to our mind, the doing part equals what? What does that equal? It's not being intimate, right?
Right.
I like the conversion of being and doing.
Right. Because
the difference.
all those atypical answers are
Right.
being
Right.
sweet, it's restful, friend, alive, life, peaceful, fruits of the Spirit.
Yeah,
We had
yeah.
listed. All of those are things of a being, a point of being.
And guess where, and this is just my thought on this, in when I'm the most restful, my relationship, when I'm thinking about life, or if I'm living out of that life, being,
Yeah.
some of the best prayer times I've ever had in my life have come out of that.
You can minister to other people because it's life you're giving them. It's not work, it's life.
Yeah, it becomes, that's what I'm saying. That whatever that is, it could be anything at that point.
Yeah.
I'm doing it out of life because of the intimacy with God, the relationship that we have with God.
That overflow.
The overflow, exactly right. That's when it becomes, wow. It's hard to, you can't just, you're right. The words, the descriptions of that is so hard to put into simple terms of the sense of that, if I'm doing it out of anything but life, then why am I doing it?
Yeah. Are we ready to get in trouble here?
Well, we already are.
Well, we're really fisting to.
Okay.
You will never minister more to others by going to church more, by reading your Bible more, by praying more, by doing of anything.
Right.
The way you're going to minister to others is overflow from intimacy with God. That's the only way you ever minister to others.
Right.
There's a bunch of people going to argue with God that they ministered to others. And he's going to say, you never knew me.
Yeah.
You never knew me. Not you never knew about me. You never knew me.
Right.
And we always refer back to Mary and Martha, but to me, and I think one reason I always do is because it's the only place that I know of it. Jesus said, this is the only thing that's required.
Yeah.
This is the only thing that, not even required, but this is the only thing that's important. And he tells, you know the story? Martha's all busy. She's in relationship with God. She is working to meet Jesus' needs.
Right.
What does he need?
Right.
And she's working hard to do that. And what does he tell her?
It's good.
It says, but Martha was cumbered about much serving, and came to him and said, Lord, dost thou not care that my sister hath left me to serve alone? Bid her therefore that she help me. Focus. Her focus, even though she's come to Jesus, her focus is not on him.
Right.
Her focus is on her and Mary.
Yeah.
That's never a good place for focus to be. On ourselves and others, especially when we start comparing.
Oof.
You can never compare intimacy because you can't put it into words.
Right.
So you don't ever have to worry about that. You can compare works. And then that's what Jesus answered and said unto her, Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things. Basically, she was just upset and worried about many things. But then he said, but one thing is needful. One thing's necessary. One thing is needful. And Mary hath chosen that good part, which shall not be taken away from her. Which he's kind of insinuating all that work Martha's doing.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but guess what? You're not going to take it with you.
Right.
It's not lasting.
Right.
And it's not eternal. What Mary had chosen, she's chosen the good part.
The good part.
And that part there
It's good. This is
means, it means portion.
good. Mm-hmm.
She's chosen the portion which is needful.
Mm.
And if you remember back what David said in
Yes.
Psalms,
Mm-hmm.
what was that Psalm?
Psalm 16.
Psalm 16. David said that God was his portion.
I believe Psalm 16:5.
Yes.
It's, O Lord, you are the portion of my inheritance and my cup. You maintain my lot.
You maintain.
You maintain it.
When
It's good stuff.
I don't have the scripture that we didn't look it up, but when the Israelites were coming into the promised land, the Levites were set apart
Right?
as the priest. What are we?
We're
Royal
royal priesthood. Yeah.
The Levites were set apart as the priest, and Joshua told them, "You don't get a portion in the land.
You're right.
Your portion is God,
It's God.
because you're consecrated to God."
That's right.
Lots of parallels there.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
Good stuff.
So Mary chose the good portion, the one portion that's needful, that won't be taken away.
It's good. I love it when we do these things.
Yeah.
And I had to tell you why. Because it just talks straight to me, man. right here,
Yeah.
right. Because I've always,
Oh yeah.
even in thinking about the podcast today and coming in and sitting in this and thinking about these words, now we're talking about it. Now I'm like, oh yeah. Oh. I'm starting to remember how easy it is to be Martha.
Oh, here's an easy little thing to remember. Doing never equals intimacy.
Right.
Never.
Right.
Doing never equals intimacy.
Mm-hmm. That should be at the red flag moment.
Yeah, you should know once if you start depending on your doing at any point, that's never going to bring you intimacy with God.
I've heard this before too. Well, I haven't read my, when you said that I haven't read my Bible enough today, God's not going to be happy with me.
Yeah.
That's doing. That's
doing.
doing. Because that's become, instead of, if God leads me to do that today, and that's part of what I'm doing here as just living, it's hard enough to be Jason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you find yourself questioning those things? It's hard enough to be you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, listen, just be.
Just be.
Yeah.
That's what intimacy always comes out of. Just being real.
Mm-hmm.
Just being who you are.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was what book. Man, I believe it was Dan DeHaan that talked about in his book. I can't think of the name of the book right now. Off the top
God
of my
you
head.
can know.
The God You Could Know. I believe he said on page 11. I think I even remember the page number.
Yeah.
Speaking of references, that he says, God is not interested in what you do, but who you be. I believe that's the exact line.
Yeah.
That stuck with me. That line stuck with me throughout the years. I could go look that book up now and find that. That's interesting.
Jesus took care of the doing part.
Right. Cross. Yeah. Everything.
So I guess it just comes back to what you want. You can do all day. If that's what you want to do. If you want to work, it'll blow your ego up real quick. Yourself can live on that quite a long time.
JT though. All right. Here comes the opposite. I'm going to throw this at you.
Okay.
This is not going to surprise you. I promise you. Anything I say usually to JT, it doesn't surprise him. So, but how am I going to grow spiritually if I just be?
What does it matter?
That's my point.
Or if your desire is to be intimate with God, and it's Him doing not us doing,
Right.
then there's no way that you're not going to grow spiritually.
Exactly.
That's an impossibility.
That's exactly right.
It obviously is a possibility to do a lot of things and never grow any and never know God.
Intimacy produces the knowing of God, which is the point
Yeah.
there, which is if you're going to be intimate with God, guess what? You're spiritually going to grow.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Like that's not an if moment there.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. That's part of him. I believe here scriptures are just flying through my mind right now. Sorry. He prepared good work. We'll finish it.
Yep.
Philippians.
He's the author and finisher of our faith.
Yes. Hebrews. All sorts of things. The portion, you talked about portion.
Stand still and see. And what are they looking at? They're looking at God.
Yeah, exactly right.
Don't be Martha.
Mm-hmm. That's good, man.
Martha was great and special, but she's not where you want to be. She's not restful. She's not peaceful.
If we continue to get caught up in I just thinking about this over and over again. If we continue to get caught up into the moral aspect of doing, I think what's going to happen is you're going to start focusing here, and I'm pointing to self.
Yeah.
A lot. And when I focus on self, man, I am the worst person to be around. Totally selfish, totally me,
Yep.
all the time. Ooh, gives me the shivers thinking about it.
Yep.
My poor wife.
Oh, my.
No.
Oh. What was it not long ago? I read something. Somebody's the greatest idol, the biggest idol in churches. And one of them would have to be work.
Yeah. That's
We
good.
love work.
Oh, man. Give me something
Spiritual
to do.
work.
Give me something
Put me to work.
Yeah. Give me something to do, man.
Pastor, I'm ready.
I'll lead the charge. Gung-ho.
I'll teach Sunday school. I'll be chairman of the deacons. None of those things are bad,
No, they're not.
but they're not the best part.
No.
And none of them are going to bring you peace. None of them are going to bring you intimacy. Those things can only be done out of it.
Out of it. Yeah.
They should be the effect
Yes.
of intimacy. Ask yourself, is what I'm doing, is it the effect of intimacy, not of relationship, but of intimacy with God?
Right.
And if it's not from intimacy with God, you better chunk it
Chunk it. Yeah.
and start over.
In other words, if you're left worried or troubled, then why are you doing it?
Exactly. If it doesn't just bubble out,
Right.
and here's the idol.
Right.
The idol is, I won't stop what I'm doing and chunk it so I can be intimate.
Right.
I would rather be intimate with my idol.
That's good. Man.
So what do you want? We've asked it before.
Yeah.
You want intimacy, and then that relationship result in the doing? Or do you want to just do the rest of your life?
Ooh.
Whatever your choice, God's not mad either way. And his intimacy towards you does not change one iota, no matter what your choice is. That's how much it does not depend on doing.
That's good.
Don't miss out of eternity here
Mm-hmm. Right.
in the moment.
Yeah.
The moment holds eternity.
It's good. I hope this is, man, I don't know about you guys. It blessed me tonight. I'm sitting here just thinking about it all right, and I'm thinking about the whole process and going through it in my head. So hopefully this is, I'm going to walk out of here happy tonight, just thinking about it.
I wasn't even sure where it was going when we started. I was like, I'm not quite sure where this is going to end up or how we're going to get there. But that's the thing about it. It wasn't about doing, it was about whatever is happening in this podcast has got to come out of our intimacy with God.
Right.
And when it doesn't, we're not going to do it.
That's right. Well, listen, thank you all for listening. And please, if you feel like you need to share this with somebody else and to encourage them and to please share it with them. And just go to like I said, go to Facebook and like us there, and go to Twitter and at Taleo Ridge. And we look forward to doing this again. And I think God willing, we'll be back.